Fine. So we'll continue. So today we are going to discuss about overloading, insertion, and extraction operators. As Piyush, I think Piyush Punia, na? I think Piyush Punia has requested for insertion and extraction operator. So we'll discuss how to overload insertion and extraction operator. But before this, we have to discuss friend operations, or what are the friend functions and a friend classes. So we will continue with the topic that we have left on the last, and after that I will talk about friend functions, and later on we'll talk about insertion and extraction operators. So topic that we are talking about was on data conversion, and I think we have completed with this topic. So just coming to the last slide of this. Now I think we were discussing about the conversion between C string and string objects. Now question is, what is C string? It's a string in C programming languages, C programming language. So when we say a string in a C programming language, so we're talking about the C style string. When I talking about string object, means I am defining a class. So here it's something different from here. And look at the statement here, hash include string dot h. So this is a C style. Fine. When I say I want to include a C++, I will be including a string, simply hash include string. So that's a things that you have to keep in mind. This is compatible with a C programming language. String is a something that is a new, and here string is a class that we are going to define. It's not a part of a standard C++ library. So let's take what we are doing. Class string. So we are creating a class with a name capital string, capital S string. Within this you have a private, then you have a enumeration. Enumeration is just to like defining a constant here. So I am saying sz is equals to 100, so sz having a value of 0. Otherwise, if we're not putting 80 here, it will take a value 0. So you have a string, character string of size 80 that you create using a class. Then you have a constructor, zero argument constructor, default constructor, or we call as a default constructor. In this case, you are initializing private data member str with a null string. So you are just giving a null value to a str. Next is a one argument constructor. In this case, you are taking a input through an argument and copying the value to a str. So you just making a copy of it. Then you having a display function, display to print it out, cout string that you are printing it. Then you have a operator, character star, and then you return a string. So what's the meaning of this one? Here, this is your conversion operator. Purpose of this conversion operator is to take input, that is a C style string, and convert into a string of a class. So you are using a conversion operator, means look at this operator. So this is your conversion operator, character star. So you are taking input in a form of a taking input in a form of a object, converting this object into a string. So what is the string here? So you will be returning a character star there. So you are returning a character str and returning it in a form of a C style string. Now, try to see a main program. In case of integer main, you define string s1. So it's an object of user defined string class. And for initialization, you use a default constructor for this one. Now, what you are using? So you use a no argument constructor or a default constructor here. Then you create a variable xstr of that is a character array named sxtr, and you are initializing with a string constant. So this is your string constant here. Now you are saying s1 is equal to sxtr. Fine. Now x1, what is s1? Object. What is sxtr? This is a array of character. So this is a C style string. So you want to initialize C style string to a S1. Now, which function will be invoked for this conversion? Look at the previous example. So here we have a two different two different constructor, simple string, a character string taking input as a character string, display, and you have a conversion operator. So from this, which function will be invoked? Anybody? So look at this one. What is on the left hand side? That is the S1. S1 is a object of a string. What is on the right hand side? That is a XSTR. So which function from a class will be used to convert XSTR to an object of type string?
Operator function.
It's incorrect. Look at this one. What is on the left hand side? Object. What is on the right hand side? A string array. Sorry, character array. That is a C style. So go back to the definition. Look at this one here. Here you have a constructor. What does the constructor do? Constructor take input a character array and copy it to str. Fine. So here actually this constructor will be invoked. Now look at this one definition. It's a look at this one, xstr. A constructor will be invoked. This will convert into an object of type s1, and that object of type string will be assigned to object s1. So here it will be a assignment, but before this will be converted to a object of string type. So here we use a one argument constructor to convert C string to a string. So string in a C programming style is converted to string object that we have defined in a previous slide. So this is the use of a constructor. So constructor is basically upgrading this C style string to a string object, and that object is used to initialize S1. So this is basically not a initialization of a S1, but it's a re-initialization because S1 is created before. So constructor is used for this one, but here the constructor is used for the right hand side to upgrade it to a object, and that object is again initializing S1. Now you will display it, so it will may display a joyx null. Then you have another object. So look at this one. String s2 is a born and. Now question is that now which function will be invoked? If you look at this one, on the right hand side you have a born and, that is a string constant. On the left hand side you have an object s2, and now this is both declaration and definition. So it's an object creation. Again constructor, one argument constructor will be invoked, converting a born and, that is of a character array, into a strings, and that string is used to initialize s2. So again we are going to use a one argument constructor to convert a string constant to an object and use to initialize s2. Now look at the third one. In this case you have an expression cout static cast character star s2. Now look at this one. This is your object of type string, and this object is now cast into a character array. So here it's a function that is a conversion operator. Operator character star is invoked to convert it into a string, C style string. Why we have converted into a C style string? Because C object, C out is not defined for string objects. So it cannot print a string object, but it can print a character array. So it is converted into a character array, and now this is passed on to cout, and now cout will be displaying it to user. So in this example, what we have seen how object is created. For creation of an object, I need a constructor, and for object to a primitive type, I need a conversion operator here. Any doubt till now? So
Sir, what was? Can you please explain enum class again? Enum thing again?
actually, this is a concept from a C programming language. Have you studied it before or not? It's
No, sir.
it's enumeration that is from a C programming language. So you have an enumeration. Enumeration is purpose to, let's take a weeks, days of a week. It is going to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So what we do, we create a set of days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we have a 7 values. So instead of values, I have a numerical value. Sunday value is 0, Monday value is 1, Tuesday value is 2. So basically I create enumeration. Enumeration means numbering. So Sunday is getting a number 0, Monday is getting a number 1, Tuesday is getting a number 2, and so on. And here what do I do? I want to create a constant here within a class, but here I cannot create a constant within a class because class is a something that is a blueprint. It does not have a memory. So here you create a constant in a form of enumeration. A number as z is 20. So it's, you have some constant like here, but it's not taking a memory. It's just from a it means this cannot be modified, or it's a part of a program. So as z is 80, so that's why I want to create a string of 80. So if I'm not using sz here, I may have to write a 80 here, 80 within a string. So this is just a way of writing a constant within a class, and I am using something that is there in a C programming language, enumeration data type. I have used enumeration data type to get a value. If I'm not writing here, it still is valid, but this will make a program something each and every time you have to modify your code here. I just simply write change this value and you can get a 80 there. So that's a problem with the C and C programming languages, C and C++ programming languages. I need a constant in case of a definition of an array. In some programming versions like a C11, you may not require it, but that is something not a standard programming practice. So in that case, I need something constant. So I'm just defining a way of how to write a constant, and then I'm creating a string here. And if you have it anyway, try to study from a last year programming book, enumeration, and this will be idea. It's only a numbering pattern. I want to give, instead of using a name, I may be using name as a number. So if I write a 0, 0 does not make a sense. If I write Sunday, Monday, this make a sense to my program, and program becomes much more readable. So and that's why using a enumeration here.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So we have gone to this one. Now to continue with the next topic, I need one more topic to be discussed, that is friend. So I will be talking about friend functions and friend classes. So basically I concentrate on functions. I just tell you what the classes are. So what is a friend function here? A function can access the private part of a class. Now, question is that which function can access the private parts of the class declaration? All those members that are defined within the class. Is true or not? which can access a private part of a class declaration. Any member function that is defined within a class that can access a private part of a class declaration. So I say private part, I need to be within a class. So I think I will be putting something within a class itself. Now, if you put something within a class, the function is in the scope of the class. Now, when we say a function is in the scope of a class, means it is visible within a class. So actually it's not defined within a class. Our information is placed within a class that this is a friend function. So if this function is requesting a private member of a class, it is granted by a class. Uh, Next is function must be invoked on an object. When we say a friend function, it must be invoked on an object. So must be using an object of that class. Now, first of all, just quickly revise it. What is a function? What is a friend function? A function that can access private part of a class declaration. If it is access a private class of class declaration, so it must be within the scope of a class. Otherwise, it's not possible. A function must be invoked on an object. So this function will be invoked for an object that we are going to discuss it. Now, we just quickly take an example here. So here I have a class, that's a IO stream, name is space std. Then I declare a class beta. So look at the class beta and it's a semicolon. Then you have a class alpha. Within alpha, you have a private integer data public alpha data 3. So it's your constructor and consists of single private member, that is the integer data. Then you define a special function here. Look at this one. It's friend, return type integer, name of a function friend function alpha beta. Look at this one. What we are doing, I am passing two arguments. The first argument is of type alpha, second argument is of type beta. So I'm passing alpha and beta, and this is my end of a class. So question is that why I have defined a beta here? I need a beta here because in the function I need a argument. This argument is of class beta. So this should be known to compiler before using it. Otherwise the compiler is not going to compile this program. It will say undefined data type. So here I need alpha. Alpha is a user defined that you have defined it. Beta, though definition is not there, but declaration is there. So compiler know there is a class that is beta and it may be seen later. Now, within a beta function, what we are doing, I have a integer data. Then you have a public beta, that is a constructor here, putting a data value 7. Then again, same declaration. Look at this one. Friend, integer, name of a function exactly same, order of parameter exactly same. So you have a definition friends here. Now, these are only declaration. So where is the definition? I may be writing outside of both of the classes. If I'm writing inside it, then it will become a simple normal member function. So here I'm not making a normal member function. I'm just putting it up here. So look at this one. It's a friend here. It's a friend here, but no friend here. You have an integer friend function. Alpha object is A, beta object is B, and then return A dot beta, B dot beta, summation of this one. I think put a semicolon here. I think it's required or not. So look at this one. So you have a friend function alpha beta. Now in case of A is a object of class alpha, B is an object of a class beta. Now A dot a dot data. Look at this one. This is a private member. It is accessible from alpha. It's now also accessible from a function that is outside of a class, but you have defined it as a friend. So class is allowing access of private member to friend function because you have a declaration here. The function now knows that this function is a friend function and now it can access a private member of its object. So you now access object a.data. Now similarly, this is another object from another class, that is beta, and it's again accessing a data member of this one. So here this access is possible because this function is also a friend of beta class. So I will be granting access to this one. So it has now access of both of them. So next question is that can we put a part of any one of them? We can do it. We can add it to a uh, as a function in someone and a friend to the other one. So that's a possibility, but right now make it simple. So we can have a simple function that can access members of two classes, or even it can be just access a member of a one class only. Fine. So means here, look at this one. What's an advantage? Advantage is that I can write a function outside a class, fine, and that can access a private member. Now question is that can we write in all possible classes? The answer is no. We cannot write friend function in all possible classes because most of the time the classes are provided through a library. You only have a header file with you. You have a object file with you. You cannot modify an object file. So you can put this declaration in a header file, but you are unable to add a that particular code to a object file. So that's a not possibility. So most of the time you will not be able to add friend function to inbuilt classes. And there is a disadvantage also. Disadvantage that this is now a indirect access to a to private members of a class. So if it is a access to a private member of a class, it's a data violation. When in the beginning we talked about the data hiding. So it's basically violating data hiding of a class, but it's something that is required when we write a function that needs to access a private member of more than two classes or more than one classes. Then I can't do anything. I have to write a function. The question is that should I write a friend function or not? You can write it. It's your discretion. But if you write in too much friend function, then your program will be something that is very difficult to read and even may give a something surprising results. So try to avoid as much as you can, and if you have to use it judicially. So let's
Sir,
take another example. Yeah.
you have
Yes, yes.
not specified the global scope in case of friend functions. There's no need.
Question is that what's the global scope for friend function?
No, I am telling that for other member function, you have to specify when you are declaring it's outside the class, you have to specify with a global resolution operator.
No, 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 no. Let's say keep it. Let's say just make a difference here. I am not using a scope resolution operator here that you are seeing now. Look at this.
Yes,
Look, why? Now, actually, this friend function is a declaration here. It's telling a class that this is a friend function. This is a friend function. But this function is not a part of any of these classes. It's a standalone. It's a standalone function. So it's not a class member. Suppose I'm saying this is a class member. So there is no need for friend. It can always access a private member of a class. So this is not a class member. It's only a friend of a class. So I am informing to a class, this is a friend function. This is a friend function for alpha. This is a friend function for beta. but this function is a standalone function outside of this class. So this is a normal function. It's a normal function, and this normal function is we are making it as a friend to both of these classes. So this is standalone. It's not a part of encapsulation unit. So it's not part of encapsulation unit. It's a standalone function outside the normal function that we define in C programming language. It's something like this. It's a normal function like a C programming language. Instead of a primitive data type, I am using a user defined data type, and to access private members, I have to make this function as a friend in both of them. So there is no need for scope resolution operator for defining this function outside of class, because this is not a member function of a class. It's only a friend of a class. And that is why if you put it a public and private, doesn't matter. It's not a public or private here. It's always a public there because it's outside of a class. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So this is just a very good question right now, because just to tell you, this is a standalone.
Sir, the same thing can be replaced by two different member function.
Question is how you can do it.
For class alpha, we will define a separate member function, and for class beta, we will define a separate member function, and we can access them both outside their.
Just let's try it. Suppose I just write a extra, that's a leave a friend here. Now it's become integer public member, that is integer friend function alpha beta. It can access alpha members here. What about beta? It cannot access a private member of second class, that is beta.
Okay, sir. I understood.
Why? Because I need something that is from two different classes. It's there, but I cannot access a private member of a beta from this one. So I need some more functions here so that I can access a private member here. Suppose I want to write write one more function. I may add like something like that. Let's take write one more return data. So I pass an object. If this function is there in a class, I may use it, but I cannot directly access integer data of a beta class. I need some member function to access it. But here I am using it directly, a.data, b.data. So that's why I need a friend function. I think I'm clear?
Yes, sir.
A good question. These are both the questions are very good questions. Now let's take example here. So you have a integer main, alpha double A, beta double B, object of type alpha, object of type beta, then printing it out. So what we are doing, we are adding this value in a friend function. Value of AA, object of A, object AA, object BB are passed as argument. Values are fetched, private members are fetched, added and returned. So you will be printing a value through a cout. So written is that here AA will be a from that's a parameter A, BB will form a local parameter B, and with this object A and object B data return the value, that is a summation of both of them. So this way you will be using this function here in your code, return 0. Fine. So let's take one more example. So you have a class matrix, then you have a class vector. So here class matrix, class vector, two different class, and you have a internal data, that is a private member, or object of size 4, and you have a friend function. Look at this one, friend returning a vector, operator is multiplication, and you having a two parameter matrix and a vector. So matrix and a vector there. So look at this one, in a class you are using a matrix and a vector. So purpose of this is to multiply values of two different objects. An object is coming from a matrix and an object is coming from a vector. So if you're talking about can I put in one of the class, I can't put it because it is accessing a private member of two different classes. So I have to make this function as a vector, as a friend in both of them. So let's take a class matrix. Then you have a vector v4. Then you have a friend vector. So look at the declarations. Both the declarations are exactly same. And now what is this declaration? I just want to define this thing. So you have a vector, no need a friend. Now it's outside of both of these classes. Vector operator star. Similarly, it's a constant matrix M and a constant vector and passing it by reference. Why reference is advantageous here? It's a large data matrix, large data vector again a large data, and I don't want to pass it by a value, so the copy is created. It will take more time. Reference will going to take a lesser time. So you have a local variable vector r, then you have an integer, and I is equal to 0, executing it for number of time. And look at this one, rv. What is v? What, this is the vector r. What is v? V is a vector v1. So you are multiplying this one for integer j. Then you have r. R is a local variable. V is a vector v. Then you have m is a matrix, and you have a that's a vy, vi, vj. So here look at this one. These are the private members. Again, I will be accessing private members of both of them. So this way, I am writing a class that can access a private member of two different classes, matrix and vector. And this way, we can perform a multiplication of vector and matrices. So it's just an extension of the previous example. Now, next is what we are doing. We are going to overload extraction and insertion operator. And why we have studied a friend function? Because again, I will be dealing with two different classes. What's the purpose here? I have to overload insertion and extraction operator. When we say insertion, that is a symbol of two left shift. Then we have an extraction. I have a symbol of two, that is a right shift operator. So when we say overloading, I need a object of type cout is used to print object of distance. So cout is defined for primitive data type, but it's not defined for a user defined objects. So I have to redefine cout for a user defined object. Now let's take how can do it. So definition remains the same. We have a IO stream using namespace stdio. Then you have a class. So in a class, I have a private member, feet and inches. This we have already discussed it. So it's a common purpose is to take input from a user directly using cin, print it to the user directly using cout instead of invoking a function for printing and getting a value from a user. So let's take a public. This is your constructor, zero argument constructor. Then you have a two argument constructor. Now we are having two functions. First one, friend. So this function is friend. It's not a part of a class. It's outside of a class because I am using a operator that is this one. And this operator is basically a use for CR, that is a cin. So look at this one. What I'm doing, I am returning iStream object. So C is in a iStream object, and input is a C stream, a cin object, and a object reference to the object that we want to take as an input. So these two arguments. So this is from a class iStream. This is from class distance. So two different classes. So I need a mechanism to get data from two different classes. So I am putting it as a friend here. Now next is this is for input, that is for scene. Next is for cout. So I need another function for cout. Cout is an object of a OStream. Cin is an object of a iStream. So name of a class is OStream, and I'm returning it by a reference. Then you have a name of an operator. Then the name of the two classes, you have a class is OStream and you have a class distance. So OStream for cout, distance for distance object. So these are the two declarations, one for a input, another for an output. Now I have defined this as a friend of distance. Question is, I will ask the question later when we finish the topic. So how to define it? So this is now outside of a class. So I stream return value to a reference. Then you have an operator, and then you have a I stream. So that's exactly same declaration here. So purpose is to get distance from user. So how we want it? Cout. Look at this one. What is cout? Object of OStream. And for this, output value is enter feed, that is a string constant. And what is d dot feed? This is a integer value. So here look at this, within this function I am writing a statement that is taking a object of I stream, and I am presenting to a user what to print. So I will be asking user to enter feed. Then I am using a object s. Look at this one, s here. S to take input d dot fit. So d dot fit will be taken by a s. So s will direct input to d dot fit. Why s? S is basically an object of I stream. That is an input stream. It's something similar to C in, because it's a reference of C in actually. Similarly, I can take an input for d dot inches. So I write a statement, enter inches. Then I direct the output to direct the input to d dot inches. So I will be taking input for d dot feet and d dot inches here. So what is s? S is a I stream object. What is d? D is a distance object. So after this, you return s, and returning is through a reference. So basically you return a reference back to the calling program. Next is, this is about input. Now taking about the display distance to a user. How to display? We can write a function on our own. So again, look at this one here. Instead of cout, I'm writing a s. Why s? Because s is a cout for us. So cout distance, then you putting a slash, minus sign, and inches. So this way you will be printing a distance in a form of distance and inches, and then return as. Fine. So look at this one. I am talking about a printing. So cout is then basically object of OStream. DS is also a object of OStream. It's something that name is local here, but actually it's a reference to original, that is a cout there. Fine. So can you understand these two codes? Now I'm trying to use this code in my program. Look at this one. You have a distance 1 and 2, distance 3.
Sir, can you please just go to the previous slide and explain how S being returned as analogous to C out?
Okay. Now this is your function. Fine. Now suppose I write a statement here, cout dist1. So I have to write a something statement, this type of statement in my program. Now, what is this? Compiler will see this is an operator. Fine. And on the left hand side, you have an object of a cout. On the right hand side, you have an object of a type distance. So it will invoke this function. Now, cout will be passed to s, and this will be passed to distance, and this is passing by reference. Right? What is the reference? Reference is a new name for existing object. So you are now having a new name s. So s is basically cout. And what is d dot feet? D dot feet is actually distance 1 dot feet. What is d dot inches? Actually, it's a distance 1 dot inches. So here I have used a dummy name. Why a dummy name? Because I don't want to get confused, because it's something that is in a code. So here it's passed by reference. Object is exactly same, but we are going to refer it by two different names. Outside of this code, this is name is cout. Within this code, the name is s. Fine. That is why I am writing in the form of s, or even s. You may write it as a r. It doesn't matter. It's a new name for a same object. It's physical entity cout, and cout, we are, when we say s, I am referring to cout.
Sir, what if we decide not to use s and normally use cout as a normal function? Like d dot feet is a float value, we can normally print it using cout. Can we do that inside this
Okay.
function?
Actually, now here look at this one. What we have done it, I have used a return value here. Why we have used a return value there? Because I need a chaining operation. Fine. So in a statement, I may also write something like this. Distance 2 also. Fine. Now, if I am just passing on a distance there, operator cout, fine, and not passing this one. So what will happen? It will print this statement, and what will happen after this one? So there is nothing can be done, because it's not going to return anything. So what I want to print this thing, and later on I want cout distance 2. So I am passing it as a parameter, and then returning back as a value of a that's an object cout. So that chaining operation can be done. If you don't want a chaining operation, I don't need this one. I don't need this one. Simply write cout here. It's going to work.
Okay, sir.
Got a point? So here, what is the objective is to use in a same way that we normally use. So if you want a restricted operation, and you can try, you can find that it's working. So if you write cout here, it's working or not? It's working. So simply you can print it. Simply use a print function. But if it is not returning anything, what will happen? You cannot use a chaining operation, because here cout is basically a from left from a left to right, not a right to left. So I should print this value, and then this value should return cout, so that next operation can be done. Got a point? So just remember this thing.
Yes, sir.
You are to remember this thing, and this syntax is very fine. And if you want to have a restricted, you can try. It's going to work. What you are saying, it's going to work, and it will work fine. But this will not be able to write a chaining operation. And if you simply write distance d1, it's going to work. And similar, if you want to write distance 1, then again a distance 2, then the problem will be there. Fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think time is over. Just take an example here. So you have a distance, you have two distance. You have a, look at this one. Cout, enter two distances. So this is not an overloaded. But actually overloaded in the class, but here it's something that is already there because it's a primitive data type, is a character string, so it's printing it. Now if I say C in distance 1, distance 2, then it's a chaining operation. So it require a overloaded operator. Then you have a C out distance 1, then you have a distance 2, again a chaining operation. So you may requiring a definition that we have seen on the previous slides. So you have one of definition, then again you have a using this definition, and this way we are going to finish it. Fine. With this, we have finished with the operator overloading. Now you can try some operator overloading. So I have designed an assignment for you. So you have a simple assignment. Again, due date is on 9th October. Again, is a hard deadline. So you have to submit it by October 9, 11 a.m. And why this date? Because tomorrow I hope is a holiday, and Friday I'm not going to engage a class, so you can do it by that time. So what you have to do, you have to write a class of your own choice. Means you write anything that you want, but what you have to do within your class, you have to define constructors and destructors. So try to design such a class at least that you need a two constructor and a destructor. Then within your class, you have to define a assignment operator so that you can assign one object to another. Then you within a class, you should define a equal operator. Purpose of equal operator is to check it out that the two objects are same or not. So here when we say two objects are same or not, it may be their value are same or their address are same. So here you have to check it out. Any definition that you provide, it's okay. I just want you should be able to use it. Then for your own class, write these two input and output, that's extraction and insertion operators, input and output operators, and write these functions in your class. Now what you have to do, you have to submit the code and snapshot of the executing program. For snapshot of the executing program, what you must do, you must write a comment or a cout statement in each and every member function. It means this is a constructor, this is a destructor, this is a assignment operator, this is a equal operator, and overloading insertion operator, overloading extraction operator. So write these statements within your function. If these functions will be executed, they will be printed on the screen. Fine. So you have to write these classes and try to overload, and you have to submit your assignment before 11 a.m. on 9th of October. So any doubt? Yes, any doubt?
Sir, we recently made an assignment in DSA on the same concepts.
DSA on
Yes,
that is
sir.
after overloading.
Yeah, on operator overloading. We were using we made a program on big integers. Uh, so and we use insertion, stream
So
insertion, extraction, and all those operators.
fine. So you should not use a that's a big integer. Instead of big integer, use some other class.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So no problem with this one. Instead of big integers, use some other class. So big integers will not be accepted.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.